So Patreon finally slayed the beast Marab at 323, right? So where do we go from here? But hey, it's your boy DHP, and y'all know the rest, man. And hey, welcome back to another installment of Weekend Recap. I haven't done that in like, what, a month now? Because I've been gone for like during the Thanksgiving holidays, for y'all know my personal matter. So we gonna talk about post 323, and also I want to touch on this Paramount deal because it relates to something I was feeling Saturday night while I was watching the fights. And it might be because I'm getting older. You can say I'm still a young buck because I am 29. I turned 30 in 2 months. But yeah, I'm gonna touch on something on this Paramount deal, and it relates to what I was feeling. But Patreon, so Patreon slayed the beast, right? So I know you know what, and what's funny is I know where they probably gonna go from here, but y'all let me know what y'all think, you know, because we do got some options now, right? So, and I seen what Patreon said about Marab shouldn't get an immediate rematch because Patreon, you know, well, technically he did get a rematch, but it wasn't really like it wasn't like how Valentina and Alexa Grasso type shit was, if that makes sense. But regardless, I know what they trying to do or what they could do, but so okay, so let me lay this out for y'all. So, do y'all think they're gonna give Marab an immediate rematch? Should it be Patreon and Marab 3? Or do they do Patreon and Umar Nurmagomedov? Or will they do, which I think the UFC is trying to wait on, is, so we got Suga Sean and Song Yadong at 324, right, in January. If Sean was to beat Song Yadong, they're going to run the rematch back. I can guarantee you they're going to run the rematch back with Sean and Patreon, which is why I said what I said on the review show, because Patreon winning actually opened the door for bantamweight, just because it brings Corey Sandhagen back into play. Definitely bring Umar back into play, and it definitely brings Suga Sean back into play, because Sean was pretty much, Suga Sean is in this bridesmaid position where he could potentially beat everybody else, but because Marab already beat him like twice, he have a long road. It's basically like what I said like over and over about Misha Tate, John Dodson, even Max. Like when Volk beat Max those 3 times, or even the second time, Max had to go through hell and back just to get that third fight. And then, you know, what happens next was history with Taporia. But Sean was in this bridesmaid little position where he's going to have to go through hell and back to even get another crack at Marab, especially because Marab, not only did Marab swept him, but he finished them in their last fight. So, but Marab losing not only brings Sean back into title talks, but it also give him a little advantage over everybody else, because the person that Marab lost to, Sean ended up beating him. And not only did he beat him, it was like a controversial decision to where, okay, if they was gonna go with this matchup, they really ain't gotta go through great lengths of trash talking each other, because the first fight is going to sell itself because how controversial it was. Because some niggas thought that Patreon actually beat Suga Sean, and Suga Sean, you know, they robbed Patreon of that decision win. So that fight alone and that controversial decision is going to sell itself for the rematch. So I can guarantee you especially in today's UFC, how they like to match make and book title fights. I'm pretty much guarantee you at least about, I'm gonna say 80 to 90%. They're waiting on to see if Sean actually beats Song Yadong, and then they're gonna go ahead and book Patreon and Sugar Sean too. I can pretty much guarantee you now. Is it right? Me personally, even though I am a Sugar Sean fan, no, because to be quite honest, the way I will book it, you go ahead and honestly at this point, you go ahead and do Umar and Patreon, because that's really that's really the only matchup that really hasn't happened within the top 5 or that top 4. Because if we go at like on a perspective type like outlook, every division, right? Every weight class and every division has those like top 4, top 5 niggas in the weight class where at least we see. So say like you have 6 niggas, right? You have 6 niggas, they all in the top 6. We at least see 3 different type of matchups with them fighting each other within that top 6, right? Patreon and Umar out of the whole, quadruple or let's just say the triangle effect of the title picture bantamweight. There's 2 matchups that within that whole top 5, top 6, whatever, there's 2 matchups that it is on pace, not on pace, but it's on the right path of getting made, but there's a lot of obstacles in the way, so that's why we haven't seen those matchups yet. And that's Patreon and Umar Nurmagomedov and Corey Sandhagen and Sugar Sean. Cause even, hold on y'all, let me get some of my tea real quick. Even before this fight got made with Song Yadong and Sean, after that Marab fight, when Sean got finished by Marab the second time, we was thinking like, okay, now this the perfect time to fight, Corey Sandhagen, because niggas been talking about Sean and Corey Sandhagen for a good while, but now that Marab keep beating Sugar Sean, and this is right around the time. Excuse me. This is right around the time, Marab was fighting Umar. Niggas was saying Sean need to go ahead and fight Corey Sandhagen. So we had that conversation, right? Then obviously we seen Corey Sandhagen get the shot at Marab finally. He finally get his, shot at the title after so many attempts and trials and tribulation. Marab beats Corey Sandhagen. So after that, we like, okay, now this is definitely the perfect time to book Sean and Corey, because now they both coming off losses to the same nigga in Marab. So this is really the perfect time to book that matchup. Now we still haven't got that matchup, so but we still could get it. We still can get it in the near future, but we still haven't got that matchup. Now Patreon and Umar Nurmagomedov, that's another matchup where we should have not more so Sean and Corey Sandhagen, but we low-key should have gotten that that matchup already. So in a reverse timeline of what we said, how perfect it was for Sean and Corey Sandhagen to finally fight, now it actually is perfect for Umar and Patreon to fight now. Because if you really think about it, and it's really simple. Patreon finally beat Marab. Umar, which more than likely we thought that Umar, and I think Dana, he always be talking that bullshit, but and sometimes he be speaking on some real shit, but he just be saying shit at the press conference just so he won't keep getting asked about it. But Dana pretty much said, Umar and Mario Batista was gonna be next. But we all know what's going on, because I don't even think, we seen Umar beat Mario. I don't even think Umar's next. But in that same breath, now we look at it, that it's the perfect matchup to make for the title. So we all know what should, at least for me, if that's how I would book it. Let Marab get himself together, because what actually Marab did, not to segue from the matchmaking talk, what Marab did, even though that he did lose, he finally got slayed. What Marab did, I'm trying to get my words together. What Marab has done and he has did in the calendar year of 2025 is still amazing. He's still, now, even though with a loss, he's in the record books for the most consecutive title defenses in one calendar year, and that's 4. Now, it would have been perfect for him to actually win the fight, but it's still going to go on his record that he's the first one to consecutively defend his belt 4 times in a calendar year. So what he has done is still impressive. But at the same time, you could kind of see that it kind of took, an effect on his body. So, right or wrong, that's a lot of weight. And we all know what Marab's weight cut, not using that as an excuse, but we all know Marab take hard weight cuts, which which is why I'm so amazed at like how good Marab is, because we all know how much he cuts weight and how hard of it is on his body, and yet he's still doing the shit that he's doing in a dominant fashion. So Marab, with that saying, and I know I'm dragging this way too long, Marab, just sit on the shelf, get himself back together, right? Petrion and Umar, they got to go at it. I would love to see Petrion defend the belt against Umar, because then it's gonna be like a whole triangle effect for real. Because then, say like if Umar beats Petrion, Marab can go get his rematch. Then you got Petrion, he can get another shot at the belt. Then that brings, Sugar Sean into the equation, Corey Sandhagen too, because Corey lost to Umar. So it's kind of like this whole between Umar, Marab, Petrion, Sugar Sean, and Corey Sandhagen, the 5. We can call it, we got the 4 horsemen. Well, we can call it like the 5 horsemen. There's like a 5 horsemen plus bantamweight. We're getting new, contenders rising to the occasion, right? They're rising themselves, they putting themselves up in the ring. It's really like Peyton and Amin Zabit. I can't pronounce his name the right way, but we all know it's the Ariel Helwani lookalike. So we got him into the equation, and now we got Peyton Talbot. So we got the 5 horsemen, and then we got those 2 putting themselves up in the top rankings now, especially Peyton. I think now he should be like, what, 10th or 11th? So that's how, in a long way to go about it, that's how I will book it, to be quite honest. We go Petrion, Umar, and then Sugar Sean and Song Yadong. Whoever wins that could potentially fight the winner of Petrion and Umar. Let Marab, get his shit together. But I know what they're gonna do is Sean. They probably gonna wait on Sean and Song Yadong, and I know Petrion, he mentioned this because I heard him say it. It was like in a quote, but I think he wants Marab to fight Umar, which that potentially might be the fight to make. If they go with the winner of Sean and Song Yadong, that's probably gonna be the next matchup to make. But yeah, my personal opinion, just give the title fight to Umar. It should be Petrion and Umar. So with that being said, we're gonna talk about my favorite weight class, and that is Joshua Van Alexander Pantoja in this whole flyweight division. Favorite weight class, flyweight. Y'all know this. So we all know, and shout out to Pantoja team. They wanted to emphasize that it wasn't his shoulder. I said broken arm, but a lot of other people saying it was his shoulder. It was his elbow. So we want to clarify that it was his elbow. But regardless, Pantoja, he's gonna be out for some time. I said it in the review. It's gonna be like some Shavkat shit where Shavkat, after that Ian Gary fight, Shavkat was out for damn near a year. I believe it's been a year and some change, actually. I want to say not some change, but like damn near a year. Either way, it was a long layoff. So Pantoja, he's definitely gonna have a long layoff. So flyweight, you know, with long layoffs, the show must go on. Now for those that have been watching the UFC for a very long time, y'all know how this shit go. We've been through it with John Jones when, John, ended up getting in trouble with the law and shit like that. And, DC had his run. And, Alexander Gus had a rebirth in that division until John came back. So, but the show must go on, right? So, it's simple. I said it in the review. I think flyweight is probably the most simplest one to book just because of what happened at 323. We go Joshua Van, Tatsudo Tara, and then maybe we go Manel Cap. The winner of Manel Cap, because this weekend, this final fight card is the Brandon Royval card. So we go the winner of Brandon Royval and Manel Cap. And I'm gonna check the rankings later on to see if my matchmaking holds up. But the winner of Manel Cap and Brandon Royval will face Horiguchi. So it's pretty much set in stone. And then Pantoja. Now the question is, do you give Pantoja the automatic rematch when he come back? That's the question. It's kind of like, you know what? You know what this remind me of? This is straight out of, hold on, y'all. Oh, wow. Okay. Just had to check something real quick. This remind me of, y'all remember when Dom Cruz was the bantamweight champ, and then he got hurt, and then he was out for a while, and then while he was out for a while, TJ Dillashaw, we had Henan Barrow and TJ Dillashaw, and after TJ smoked Henan, TJ went on this crazy run until Dom got back. This was reminding me of. I feel like Pantoja is going to be on this Dom Cruz-esque type career path where now he got hurt, but the show must go on. And Joshua Van potentially might be running shit until he gets back. So the question I'm asking, do Pantoja get an automatic, rematch? Because he has been a long, dominating champion, and he lost via injury, right? So it's kind of like with Dom. It's kind of like basically what happened to Dom Cruz. And we all know Dom Cruz, when he came back, matter of fact, to backtrack, when Dom Cruz came back, Dom Cruz fight I forgot who the fuck he fought, but he fought somebody and he finished them in the first round, and then he came back to fight TJ. So what do y'all think Pantoja should come back and get an automatic rematch, or do you want to give him a number one contendership fight coming back, and then if he wins that, he gets the shot at the title? Y'all let me know what y'all think. But my personal opinion, if he's ready, I think they're gonna give it to him. I think whoever's the champ at that time, especially, let's just say hypothetically Joshua Van drops the belt to somebody else. I think Pantoja most definitely probably getting automatic shot, because nobody, it's like the belt is gonna be playing hot potato. So with somebody like Pantoja come back, I think Pantoja, will tell you the truth now I think about it. I think either way it goes, Pantoja might get an automatic shot back. Like either if Joshua Van even, give up the belt to somebody else, or Joshua Van still have the belt, I believe Pantoja been that dominant for so long, they probably gonna honor Pantoja of coming back and getting his rematch right off the gate. But yeah, it's pretty much simple for flyweight. Tatsuro Tara, Joshua Van. Let's run it. So, last thing on the plate for this video, the Paramount deal. I want to talk about the Paramount deal because, like I said early in the video, so not only how do I want to put this? Hold on, y'all. You know what? I'm gonna start off with this because this is what I mainly want to talk about. Hold on. What the fuck is that police doing? Police just circled back like he seen something. But this is what I want to talk about. So with this new Paramount deal, hold on. That state trooper speeding like he seen somebody for real. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about for the. So I apologize, y'all. But this is what I want to talk about. So the Paramount. So while I was watching the fights Saturday night, right, I was like, damn, like I might be getting a little too old to be staying up like this. And I know I'm in the East Coast, but the West Coast people, now this honestly is gonna help everybody involved. I know for East Coast, for us on the East Coast, it's still gonna be a little bit late because it's only like a 1 hour difference from the original start time. But the West Coast, y'all gonna fuck with this more. But East Coast wise, I was like, damn, bruh, because I'm somewhere for the fights, right? Then I gotta drive back home and then shoot a review show for y'all. So by the time I get back to the house, say the fights ended, fights end like 1 or 2 o'clock, or like 1 or 1:30. I have to drive back home, and that's like an hour drive, right? Like hour and a half drive. I get home, it's already like 2:30. Do the review shows for pay-per-views, especially if it's like something that like really popped off. It's going to be about 30 to 35 minutes or 40 minutes. Then, do my little quick edits, then upload. So really about time I'm like all settled in and ready to go to sleep, it'll be about like 4 or 5 o'clock, a.m. Eastern in the morning. So what I really want to get to with this Paramount deal is, with the new Paramount deal, we starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. Like, that's the new start time for the fight cards. And I fuck with that because let's just say, like let me say kind of like the Qatar card or whatever. When majority of the cards have a lot of finishes on the card, the fight cards end early, right? So if you have a start time like 8 or 9 o'clock, fights probably ain't going to end until like 10:30, 11 o'clock. That's good, because then for me, and this is like selfish reasons, for me, I can go somewhere, go to my usual spots for the fight, come back home, do what I gotta do with the review show and shit like that. And it could be like, I can get in bed like still like maybe like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's respectable. So in my personal experience, I think them going back an hour, instead of like starting at 10 o'clock, now we start at 9 o'clock, is very accommodating for the viewers. And I fuck with that. I fuck with that. Now, the other thing I want to add is the events. So, and I posted this on my story. So we getting 2 pay-per-views in January, right? February we getting 2 pay-per-views back to back in January. February, it's all fight nights. March is 1 pay-per-view, and then the rest is fight nights. I actually want to kind of change it up just a little bit, and hopefully maybe with this new Paramount deal that they want some, you know, some stars, maybe. How can I say this? Y'all remember back in the old UFC days where we had title fights on a fight night card? Like, we had some fight nights I was like loaded stacked, and then we had some fight night cards where it was average, but we had the title fight as a headliner. I wonder with this Paramount deal that we could potentially get title fights back on a fight night card. Make every, you know, every card that they put out, make it mean something just a little bit, or even we don't gotta have like title fights on a main card. Because I do like it where, and you know, obviously I'm a traditional MMA fan, so there's some things that I've seen growing up where I'm like, I wish they can do this now. But I do like it in this era where majority of title fights that we see is actually on a pay-per-view card. Because that's what a pay-per-view card is supposed to be. Pay-per-view is supposed to be the best potential. It's kind of like, you know, what you see in, you know, for those that still watch pro wrestling with WWE, you really don't see the wrestlers defend their damn. Look at this, y'all. Look what the hell he was doing. Boy, y'all seeing some shit in this podcast, boy. I don't know what the fuck that was, but yeah. Yeah, what I was saying, WWE, they wouldn't defend their quote unquote wrestling titles unless it was on a pay-per-view wrestling event. You wouldn't see them defending on Raw or SmackDown or whatever, right? So I do like it nowadays where pay-per-view events or the pay-per-view number events is specifically for title defenses. Like, you have your title fights, and then you have fights on the on the main card. But really, in boxing words, it's the undercard, because really the main card is supposed to be for title fights. But every now and then I like to see them switch it up, like, you know, have, like, let's just say hypothetically, like Tom Aspinall and Sirigan. Obviously, that rematch, whenever it happens, that rematch is going to be on the pay-per-view card. But let's just say hypothetically, Tom Aspinall, Sirigan 2 for the title end up being a fight night. Like, you know, switch it up every now and then. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. But I mean, honestly, the way I'm low key kind of seeing it, especially with all this UFC White House talk, we might end up getting title fights on a fight night card. Because they talking about, and I'm not putting any stock into it because I'm low key over this whole White House shit. But they talking about having like the whole card being title defenses, which I don't believe is true, because we already got shit booked. Well, I don't want to say we already got shit booked, but timeline wise, not all the champions is going to be, you know, is going to be ready for the White House card anyway, because that White House card is like, what, in June, something like that. Because we still got, unless the White House card is going to be International Fight Week, we still got International Fight Week. So timeline wise, I don't think it's possible to have like 9 title defenses, because we got what, heavyweight, light heavyweight, welterweight, middleweight, lightweight, bantamweight, featherweight, flyweight, and then the women's champions. Logistically and timeline wise, not all the champions gonna be, you know, ready in time for the White House. We may get, I'll say we probably get kind of like what we had with 300, where we had the BMF belt, right, with Max Holloway and Gaethje, and then we had like the 2 main title fights. It's gonna be something like that. We probably, at most, we probably gonna have 3 title fights that night, at most, if not 4. So that's all I wanted to add, is the way I'm seeing it, especially if they do go with this White House shit. That White House card ain't gonna be a pay-per-view. That's gonna be just like a standardized, it's gonna be a glorified fight night. So in that case, potentially we, with this new Paramount deal, we could get title fights as fight nights, on a fight night card, excuse me. But yeah, that's all I got for this weekend. I got a couple other videos I want to push out, because this is the last, you know, fight night card, not fight night card, but just fight card in general for UFC 2025. And yes, I did research it. So after this weekend, this would be the last card we'll see of the UFC until UFC 324 late January. So yeah, first time in a long time we're gonna have somewhat of a true off season per se. Because I know off season really, depending on what sport you in, off season really lasts about, you know, 2 to 3 months, 4 months at best. So this is like a month and a half really for us, because it's about 6 weeks. Because it's about like 5 to 6 weeks. So it's definitely going to be our first like true off season. But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all. Like I said, I got other videos I want to push out other than the main content for this last fight night card. So yeah, man, until my next video. I know I drug this out way too long than when I was supposed to, but hey, man, it is what it is. Until my next video, I'm gonna holler at y'all niggas later, man.